Yeah, so I ended up turning around and I got hit by a truck. And I hit the truck, actually. You know what I mean? And I remember, like, all that hit me was the mirror. Boom, smacked me in my face, right? So when it spun me, I bit through my cheek. And I remember I was, like, trying to take a nap on the sidewalk right there on Sullivan. And this kid comes out. He's like, bro, what the are you doing?
You, like, made a decision to take a nap.
Yeah.
On
like,
the sidewalk on
like,
Sullivan Avenue.
Yeah.
Which, for the people who don't know Columbus, Sullivan Avenue is, like,
like
prostitutes,
Compton of
drug
Columbus.
dealers. I mean,
Yeah.
it's bad. It's a bad street.
Yeah.
So you get smacked by the truck. You're like,
Yeah.
wow, that
You're
hurt.
damn-
I should take a nap right here.
Yeah.
All right.
So I lay down on the sidewalk, and this kid comes out and shit. He's like, "You're bleeding everywhere," and I'm like, "What the do you mean I'm bleeding everywhere?" So I step back into the street, and I'm like feeling my face and shit. You know what I mean? Trying to find where the blood's coming from, and I didn't find it. I blacked out. You know what I mean?
God.
Next thing I know, I come to, and I'm running down Sullivan Avenue naked, saying that I'm Jesus Christ. I'm the Son of God.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
You want me to bring it in, or you want to bring
That's
this
up to
in?
you. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay,
I don't do so well.
Awesome, yeah. Cool. No, we're back. Great guest who both of us know.
Love and adore.
And we know that his story is ridiculous.
Yes.
There's a lot of ridiculous moments, at least. We have David Frazier with us. Thank you for coming.
Dirty
Absolutely. Thank
Dave.
you.
Appreciate
My
it.
guy.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we've got some history, all three of us.
All three
really.
of us in a weird, like, not connected but interconnected way,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
How long have you known Lou, first off?
Probably like 8 or 9 years since I
Oh.
first started trying to get off drugs.
Damn it, so you know him longer than me.
Yeah.
That's disappointing.
Yep.
All right, and you guys got some past beefs. Like,
We'll
I
get
can't wait
there.
to delve
Yeah.
in.
We will get there.
That's gonna be so good. I'm waiting on that.
Yeah.
See if it gets uncomfortable at all in here, or maybe
I doubt
a fight will break out. Maybe Lou's been saving this day. Maybe you're just here as
Yeah,
like
just
a bait,
waiting for this
bait
moment.
car.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, shit.
That is, well, don't put something like that past me, but no, not this time.
Yeah.
I will wait, though, to get my get back.
Okay, yeah. So you two have a pass. Dave and I also have a pass. We were, like, I think day one in treatment.
Yep.
Dirty Dave was either right there before me or right there after me, but I've known him since the beginning of my time.
Yeah.
He's been a reoccurring character in my life too.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
In recovery. Tell us about your childhood, and because I know, obviously, there's some addiction in your genes and blood. So
Yeah,
tell us about
absolutely.
how you grew up and what that looked like.
So, like, I was entered, like, my grandfather, I come from a line of alcoholics and addicts, you know what I'm saying? My first use, I was probably like 8 years old. I started drinking and smoking weed with my babysitter. They thought it was funny to get me drunk and high, you know what I mean?
I love this
With
already.
your babysitter.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Was
So,
it-
And this was the babysitter's idea?
Yeah,
Was it a guy or a girl?
both. They were brother and sister.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah,
Doomed
so-
from jump, man.
Yep.
Okay.
Wait, so hold on, because this is, I know we just started, but what the hell does that look like? Like, walk us through that.
So I'm like one of my earliest memories, like your core memories, right? Your like earliest ones are like 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, around that age. I have one that we're hiking through these woods, and I've got a McDonald's sweet tea cup full of Jack and Coke. You know what I'm
At
saying? And
how old?
I was probably like 8.
Golly,
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah. So, and then I thought it was cool, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, I'm up here with, like, the 12-year-olds, 13, 14, and I'm smoking this blunt better than they are, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, hell yeah. You know what I mean?
Living my 8-year-old
Right
life
now,
up here.
Checks
yeah.
out, yeah. Checks out.
Yeah, so then I went to, I got taken from my mom, surprisingly, right, at 10 years old, and went to foster care for 5 years.
What's your mom's deal? Is she heroin addict? What's she doing?
Right now I like to think that she's clean, but mostly pills and speed, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So...
And that's been her whole life.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like-
we ended up getting adopted after sitting in foster care for 5 years because she dropped dirty for coke, you know what I mean, and wouldn't leave the guy that she was with.
Okay.
So you just removed from everything you know,
Yeah.
as chaotic as may have been,
Yeah.
and then placed into a foster family. Like, how's that work? Are you with your siblings?
Yeah, I have a little brother and a little sister. They're with me. When we get put up for adoption, though, my little sister goes to live with our great aunt.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So she had like permanent custody of her. Me and my little brother got adopted.
Okay.
So by the time I was 15, I'd got caught stealing cars, breaking in houses. And I took a knife and weed to school.
So hold on, hold on. So you move in with this foster care family.
Yeah.
Are they like good, cool people, nice
yeah,
people?
they're
Carry
great,
you,
bro. Like you hear a lot of bad stories about like foster homes and shit, but like my foster home was amazing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I felt like I was one of their kids. Now I was a asshole. You know what I'm saying? I'm a teenage kid that's been taken from everything he knows.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm bucking every opportunity I get. You know what I mean? And
well, you said by the age of 15 you had committed all these crimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
walk us through some of that between, the foster home and then the age of 15. Like
So I'm one of the first, like the first thing was I was in 8th grade, and it was when they were telling me that I was getting adopted. You know what I mean? And these kids, like I'm a city boy. I move out to Pataskala. It's country out there. They didn't like my kind. You know what I mean? So they're like, we're going to jump you after school. I'm like, all right, bet. They're going to bring an ambulance. You know what I'm saying? They're going to bring 2 of them. And even if I'm riding in one, I'm a stab. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's a 15, right?
14.
14, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was my first expulsion and also my first charges. You know what I mean?
So you get threatened to get jumped, right? And then
Yeah.
somehow you get charged.
Because they found the knife and weed on me at school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened with the jumping? Did they successfully?
That never happened.
Never
they told
happened.
on me because they found out I was
He had a knife on him.
So instead of actually jumping you, they just told on you.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That sounds
Yeah.
about right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it does sound
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get hit with some with a knife and some weed.
Yeah. So I got expelled, and that started like my little like jail treatments. You know what I mean? By the time I was a sophomore, I'd been expelled 3 times. The 3rd time was indefinitely. They told me I was a threat to the school. I couldn't come back.
You're not welcome back in the entire like school.
Yeah. Because I was selling 30s, I was robbing people.
Such a young age to be
Yeah.
doing that stuff.
Why? Yeah, like what's going on in your head where you're like, this is what I'm gonna do.
And like I said, I come from a family of addicts, you know what I'm saying? So it's what I knew, you know what I mean? And I was making money selling 30s, like we were getting them. I wasn't getting them, obviously, but like my people were getting them from Florida, and I'm sell 2 and you make a whole one, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like, run it, you know what I mean? And that also took me off into my addiction.
I'd say, are you dabbling with your own
Oh,
merchandise
yeah.
at this
Oh,
point?
yeah.
So you're using oxycodone at
Yeah.
14.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Xanax. I remember I come home from, they sent me to DYS, which is like juvenile prison. And I come home, this was before I got indefinitely expelled. And my parole officer would be coming to see me in school and shit. And I'd be in the bathroom like snorting. I remember one time they came and got me. I was in the bathroom snorting a 30 in a Xanax bar. You know what I mean? And they're like, your PO's here. I'm like,
well,
oh,
shit.
fuck. Yeah.
Tell them to wait
Wow.
5
Yeah.
minutes, please.
Wow.
No, let's get it done before 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Because in 5 minutes, he's about to start kicking. You know what I mean?
So do your like schoolmates know that, like your POs coming to see? Like you already got a bad reputation in school.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
so what kind? Do you have friends in there? Or
Yeah, we were the outcasts. We were the
you're
troublemakers.
like so yeah, you're like the weird clique, right? And then yeah, kids aren't messing with you. Like, well, Dave's PO's coming to see
They
him.
would. You know what I'm saying? Like, they would, of course, because like I said, I'm in Pataskala and I'm a West Sider. You know what I mean? So nobody liked my kind. You know what I'm saying? They didn't. Like, I'd been threatened to stab. They said they'd stab me with a pitchfork. Like,
Damn.
what, bro?
Damn. bud.
Okay. You know what I
Very
mean?
young to hear things like that.
Yeah.
Jesus. You mentioned stealing a car before 15.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So one of my buddies, I mean, it had happened a few times, but one of my buddies, his mom went out of town to like Pennsylvania or something, and her ex-husband had was supposed to come and get the car. So she told me where the keys were for when he came. You know what I mean? And I'm like, listen, I just hit a lick. We can take this car and go get some pizza and go pick up some girls, you know?
Run some errands.
Some pizza, yeah.
Run some errands.
Yeah. So the guy come to pick up the car and seen me driving it. You know what I mean? And so then I ended up hiding out from the cops in the neighborhood. Like I dropped it off behind this park in Pataskla, like behind like the pool house, you know what I mean? And I ran, and I went back to my dude's house that I took the car from, and I just sat there in between these fences just watching the house because there was cops there all day long waiting for me.
That seems like a lot for like so like okay, so the guy sees you in the car.
Yeah.
Are you pulling up or are you like passing in
I'm
town
leaving.
somewhere?
I'm leaving.
And he's like, "Wait a minute, that's the car I'm supposed to be taking."
Yeah.
And you get popped for that.
Yeah.
All right, what happens?
I got charged with grand theft auto, and I ended up going to jail.
We want to take a moment to announce an exciting partnership with K&B Clothing Line, a brand that truly aligns with our visions and dedication to recovery. We all have a past and a story to tell. Live Inspired K&B Clothing believes that every story deserves to be told without shame. They're also extremely invested in the recovery community. It shows in their clothing line. Every piece has a personal message that inspires people to not give up. Your story has power. Own it. Wear it. Be inspirational. Go to liveinspiredkmb.com now and use code GETAGRIP for 10% off your first purchase.
All right, so you're going to juvie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
What's juvie like?
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever talked with anybody
Yeah,
that's
I
been
mean,
to juvie.
I haven't been. I don't. You've never been, right?
Never been.
Yeah.
So,
tell
like,
us
it's-
about it.
Depends on which one. So, like, out there, I was in MCJDC, Licking County. It's f***ing sweet. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? Like, but then when I'd go to DYS, you'd have riots in there. You'd see.
Which is downtown here in Columbus, Ohio.
No, I was in Cleveland. I was in Akron. I was in Scioto, and I was in Mansfield.
What's your longest stint in juvenile?
Overall, I did 2.5 years.
As a kid.
Yeah.
Is it similar to adult jail and prison? I mean, it just depends on where you are. Are you
So
seeing
I haven't-
fights all the time? Or
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like-
There was a guard that got killed in the laundry room. You know what I'm saying? Him and this little like inmate had it out about something, and they went into the laundry room, and dude hit him in his solar plex. You know what I mean? And collapsed his lungs, and he died right there. You know what I mean? Another time I'd seen a guard get dumped on his head and thrown into a seizure.
From kids.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, in their juvie life is
It's
until
what,
your
till 21?
21st birthday.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, they're
really-
still kids, but
I know you
Yeah.
getting any scuffles in there? Anybody testing you out?
not really in there. No, not really in there. That like I didn't really start getting fucked with until like I started going to like the
adult jail.
workhouse. Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus, bro. I don't know. A kid, like, because I've heard it's worse than.
Yeah, because they're young and
They're
reckless.
young.
Wrong,
Yeah,
you know what I
don't
mean?
give a
That's
shit.
normally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's normally
Yeah.
where the issue is. The young ones, even in the adult jails, it's the reckless young ones
Yeah.
that want to cause problems.
Especially in there because they know. Okay, so like I've seen it where people will get bonded over. You know what I'm saying? So they commit these crimes while they're in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Catch new charges, and then they gotta do big time. You know
So
what
now
I'm
they're
saying?
going adult time.
Yeah. So, but a lot of the time they know like I'm out of here when I'm 21.
No matter what.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Yeah.
turn
Right.
You know what I mean?
What are your foster parents like? Are they support? Like, are they ever sit you down? Like, Dave, we noticed you're going to jail a lot.
So I didn't really go to jail until I got adopted. You know what I mean? So like I caught those charges while I
Well,
was
you
in
were
some of the-
young when
yeah.
you got it. Yeah, you're kind of young.
I
I
was-
hope
I
you
was
wouldn't find
15 when I
jail
got adopted.
before then. But
And
Yeah.
what do they? What's their reaction to all this trouble?
So my adopted parents, they actually, when I come home, I was almost 18, and they dropped me off on the west side. They're like, I don't know what to do with you.
wait,
You
I'm
know what I
sorry.
mean?
They just were like,
Yeah.
Like,
here, be free.
In and out.
Good luck.
Yeah. Dropped me off to my mom, my biological mom.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can they do that legal? Did they like work something out? Is that
No. So while I was in there, he was trying to. He's like, you could just like join the military, or you could like get married, and like then you're emancipated, right? And I'm like,
So he's
Yeah,
just hinting
yeah.
ideas on how to
Yeah.
get rid of you and making
Yeah.
them sound like your own idea.
but I mean, I understand. Like now, as a, you know, what I mean, in my 30s as a
Makes
father, I
sense.
understand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like multiple times that these kids would say they would jump me and shit. And like I remember one time I had a little fence post, you know what I mean, that I had nails and screws through it. You
You
know
did
what
like
I mean?
the
Like,
Negan from The Walking Dead. Thing,
Yeah, like-
right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Because all my, like, that's just not, I'm not about to go out like that.
No.
bro.
Right.
You know what I mean? Sorry.
What about your brother? Is he
My little brother's,
wilding
he's,
out too?
no, he was like their star pupil. You know what I'm saying? He was on the swim team, on the bowling league, and
All
he
the
got
right
taken
things.
from. I'm the oldest of my siblings, you know, like my blood siblings. So when we were taken from our mom, he was a little bit younger. So it was easier for him to adjust.
He didn't really know anything. Like, he wasn't much, whatever. Yeah, he didn't know enough to realize what he's.
Yeah.
It's like a fresh start for him.
So after you get dropped off by your foster parents, you've gotten in all this trouble as a kid.
Yeah.
You move back in with mom.
Yeah. And I remember the first night I was there, we actually got evicted because, well, we got kicked out because I got drunk, and like, it's not good for me when I get drunk. I'm an alcoholic drug addict. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, I wanted to fight her roommate. You know what I mean? And there was glass ashtrays being thrown like at me, you know what I'm saying? Doors getting kicked in and shit. And so like my first night back on the west side, I'm like, oh well, now we gotta figure something else out.
So you got like, what are you getting? What's the roommate done that's offended you? So
he was homosexual.
Okay.
And just kind of like was like being a little too flirtatious.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Man.
Enough for you to pick a fight.
Yeah.
With the
And I'm
drink,
drunk.
With the
and
drink.
I'm drunk,
Well,
so
that's
it
what I was
probably
gonna say.
couldn't have
With the
even
drink.
been that much.
Yeah.
But I'm drunk and like, I don't get down like that, bro.
So you get evicted night one back.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And you ever think like at this point like, I'm the problem here? Have you has that like realization?
No.
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 It's like the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's their fault.
Yeah.
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 And then where do you go after? Yeah.
We actually went to stay with like my mom's boyfriend's aunt, and it was chaotic. Like, you know, there was trapping out the house, her blind and autistic granddaughter. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was not
Blind
great.
and autistic?
Yeah.
And you're using.
Oh,
you're right back.
So at that point, I was doing 30s and cocaine.
You say no, like no, just
well,
30s and
well,
cocaine.
so
like-
my drug addiction got far worse. That was the minimal. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
30s and cocaine, like,
I can manage.
And,
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
how old? Getting close to 18?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So when you become an adult, you're already physically dependent on opiates.
Yeah.
You're using cocaine. You're, I'm sure, selling drugs or
So,
middlemaning.
middlemaning.
Make an extra buck.
Yeah.
Take us through early adulthood. You never graduated from high school?
No, when I got expelled indefinitely and I went back to DYS, I knew that when I got out I couldn't go back to school, so I got my GED.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because I was like, I gotta do something. You know what I mean?
So yeah, at 18, are you thinking like I'm gonna get a job or what happens next?
So I met my daughter's mom, and I actually got talking to her. I was in a halfway house coming home because I didn't think I was like ready to be a part of the community. You know what I mean? So I met my daughter's mom, and I was told that she was clean. She got caught in a raid, and she was clean. You know what I mean? Well, while we're staying with my mom's boyfriend's aunt, and she's like behind my house shooting dope in the alley behind a trash can with one of my best friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I caught her in lies, and that's when I got introduced to like Suboxones and shit, because where she got caught in that raid, she caught some charges. Well, eventually she had to go to jail and she had to get put on MAT. You know what I'm saying? And so I started doing those. I found out that like they're even better. Dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
you get high on those.
yeah. And so I spent like 4 years with her, mostly just doing subs and shit. And then it was like a really toxic relationship. You know what I mean?
can imagine.
On both ends.
Yeah.
You know? And so we ended up splitting up. I went to jail one time and we split up, and I went back to like the west side, you know what I mean? And I tried to go to rehab, and that was my first go around at it. That's been probably, well, okay, so I skipped out there. For my 21st birthday, right, that's when I did meth for the first time. For my 21st birthday, I did meth for 8 days. You know what I'm saying? So I'm out in Newark running around for 8 days.
First time you picked it up, you did it for 8 days
8 days straight.
I'm assuming no sleep.
None.
So
at
did
all.
you just like it that much where you're like...
No, bro, because like with that, you don't get like the... I've done pretty much every drug. You don't get that first initial
rush.
like rush,
Yeah.
right? You know what I mean? You do some, and then 12 hours later, you're like, what the you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I just kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it, looking for that rush. You know what I mean?
For 8 days.
Yeah.
And then what's the 8th day looking like? Have you
I'm
gone
going
yet?
nuts,
Yeah.
bro. Yeah. I remember it started storming and shit, and I'm convinced that because I'm so high that I created the storm.
Oh, wow.
Because
Dude, the meth psychosis is
Yeah,
really
man.
something special. It really is.
Yeah.
and you believe it. That's
Oh,
the,
yeah.
that's the part that killed it. Like you were so like even to this day, I believe some of my like I still have a hard time grasping because like I said, I can see it, I can hear it,
Yeah.
I can experience it. That's real, right?
Yeah,
That's reality.
We talked to a girl who heard her own eulogy in a different voice in her head. She was up for 17 days.
Yeah.
So it's like the stories from the meth psychosis is wild. It's the
Yep.
stories we hear. They're absolutely crazy. You mentioned adult jail, so tell us about that a little bit.
So it's mostly
Sounds
just,
like you were a bit of a regular.
Yeah,
Just in and out.
Yeah, in and out quite a few times. I just, I ended up like after we split up and shit, my mom's lost an addiction, so I don't really have nowhere to turn. You know what I mean? So I was homeless for a while. I lived in bandos. I lived in a tent. I lived behind a meeting clubhouse for a good little bit.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I'd get caught stealing. I'd get disorderly conducts, like all the little dumb shit.
little
yeah, little
misdemeanor
like
stuff.
week long maybe at the most.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean for my thefts, I'd do 30 days each trip. Like they'd make me sit in there.
Any experiences from the county jail that you remember vividly, whether it was you were involved or not, or you saw something, or
So I mean, there's quite a few. Like I was in the workhouse. This was like in 2020, I believe, or 2021. This dude was in there detoxing off the off like alcohol and Xanax and shit. You know what I mean? And he was on the top bunk and had a seizure and fell off and busted his face. You know what I mean? And it took like 10 minutes for the guards to get there. You know what I'm saying?
10 minutes before they responded to a seizure.
Yeah, and we're like kicking on the
Yeah,
doors,
banging
banging
on the
on
door.
the windows. You know what I mean? And they're just taking their sweet ass time.
Sounds about
bro.
right.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
I got jumped in the workhouse twice just for like
Just for wreck
dumbass
purposes.
shit. Yeah, bro. I'm in there dope sick. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not with nobody.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
if
know
you've
better.
been dope
You
sick,
don't-
you
yeah,
know
no.
you're not doing shit. You're
Nope.
not even eating. You
No.
know what I mean?
Yeah, you're curled up under the table.
Yeah. And I mean, they just want to pick on the little white guy. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
No, I mean I have the exact same experience.
we've all
so
been there.
All three of us. have
We've all
been
been there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So a lot of that, a lot
Yeah.
of little fights or getting jumped over stupid shit.
Yep.
Are you doing dope yet? Like, is it
Oh
evolved into
yeah.
dope?
Oh
When
yeah.
did that
So
happen?
after my daughter's mom and I split up, like I kind of wanted to know why someone would like leave their family for drugs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For a party lifestyle. So like I found out that I could smoke heroin. I didn't have to shoot it. You know what I mean? So I started smoking heroin. You know what I mean? I tried to do the geographical cure after like 4 years. You know what I mean? I'm left out. I
So
lived in.
explain to the viewers what that means, geographical cure, because I'm familiar with the term, but
Yeah, so the geographical cure is when like I'm sitting somewhere and I'm stuck and I'm running crazy, right? And I want to stop, but I can't. So I go and I route. Like I
move somewhere
the
else.
city's
else,
the
you know what I
problem
mean? Yeah.
that gets me in trouble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But the common response to that is I take me wherever I
Everywhere
go.
I go.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter where I am.
So you uproot from west side of Columbus?
Yeah,
Where you
and I
going?
left. I lived in Leavenworth, Kansas for about a year, and I was working in Missouri.
Oh, so you like really
He
got out
really
of here.
went half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You went to like middle of nowhere.
Why Missouri?
My great grandfather lived there, and he had recently like passed away. You know what I'm saying? So my grandma was there just trying to like clean shit up. You know what I mean? And she was like, she knew that I was struggling with addiction, so she wanted to take me out there, and so I did. And like I was working for a while, but a person like me, I don't even have to go looking.
It'll find
you. Know
you,
what
yeah.
I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, you know where to find it.
yeah. So probably my third night there, I found ecstasy and meth, and I love it.
Didn't take long. Yeah, it didn't take long at all.
You know what I mean? So the party's on, and I went until I went crazy. Like, I remember when I came back to Ohio, it was because I thought that the neighbor was plotting on me because I had a dog there not rightfully. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, like, I hadn't paid no pet deposit. I had none of that shit. And everybody knew, and they were cool with it because I cleaned up after her. She was a good dog. Well, the neighbor behind me had a little shit dog, you know what I'm saying?
One of the little ankle biters.
And I was convinced that he was trying to get my dog and me kicked out because he was letting his dog just be buck wild. So, like, I started plotting, like, I'm going to kill this.
The dog or the guy?
The guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, maybe both.
Seems,
I don't know.
Seems
Like,
extreme, but
yeah.
okay, I'll go with you here.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your, how are you going to take this guy out? Let's walk through that.
I mean, any way I can. You know what I'm saying? But I knew that I didn't want to do that. So instead, I had called my homie, and I'm like, he's coming from, he was doing Colorado trips back before, like, the whole weed thing was here. You know what I mean? So I'm like, bro, when's the next time you're going to Colorado? He was like, I'm actually on my way back from there right now.
Perfect for you.
I'm like, I start packing my shit, and I'm like trying to tell my grandma I'm bugged out, and I'm like telling my grandma, like, pack your shit, we're leaving. You know what I'm saying? And she wasn't going for it. You know what I mean?
What does grandma do when you tell her, like, you know, they're out to get us, grandma?
She knew that I was going nuts. You know what I'm saying? I'd go there, like, I'd be there, you know what I mean? And I'd go over to, like, my spot, not my spot, but you know what I'm saying, where I fuck around. And I wouldn't come back for, like, 2 days. You know what I'm saying? Because I'd just be back on my bullshit.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I mean? So she knew what it was. She knew that I was not doing the right thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Weren't in the right headspace.
I can't believe it only took 3 days. That's pretty impressive. Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah, well, so, I mean, I went up there to, like, buy beer, right? Because I went there dope sick. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I know in my history, right, you have a couple drinks, it takes the edge off.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
You just want to get through that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I was up at the gas station buying beer, dude, and this dude's like, what do you fuck with? I'm like, what do you got? My drug of choice is more.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter what the it is as long as there's more of it. You know what I mean?
How do you money? Like, how do you buy the drugs?
So actually there, while I was there, I was working. The guy that I worked for, he had 3 houses in this one neighborhood. You know what I mean? And then he had like 36 other houses throughout Kansas City.
So you cash under the table type situation?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's always convenient when you're a drug
the
addict.
Best job for a junkie.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So you come back to Columbus.
Yeah, I come back to
How old are you when you come back?
I was probably like 25. It was like, well, so it was 2018. How many years ago is that? 6 years?
Yeah.
So I was
7.
like 26. Okay. Right? So I come back. Shit got crazy real fast. I didn't have nowhere to go. I'm staying at my homie's the house is pretty much abandoned. You know what I mean? His grandma died, lost the house, and he's just there flopping.
Waiting for him to take it?
Yeah. And I started doing, while I was gone, fentanyl became a thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm doing fentanyl, I'm doing meth, I'm back there. You know what I mean? So I ended up like, my grandma had the one in Kansas, she'd had a heart attack and 3 strokes. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
And so like, I'm out of my mind. I've been up for like 4 or 5 days, and I think that I'm about to like pull some Forrest Gump shit, right? So I take off running
Running across the
Avenue.
country?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna run there. And so I got to BP on Haig and Sullivan, and I realized that like, you're f***ing dumb, bro. You know what I mean?
It's a lot further than I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, so I ended up turning around, and I got hit by a truck, and I hit the truck, actually. You know what I mean? And I remember, like, all that hit me was the mirror. Boom, smacked me in my face, right? So when it spun me, I bit through my cheek, and I remember I was, like, trying to take a nap on the sidewalk right there on Sullivan, and this kid comes out. He's like, bro, what the are you doing?
You like made a decision to take a nap.
Yeah.
On
Like,
the sidewalk
consciously,
on
like-
Sullivan Avenue,
Yeah.
which for the people who don't know Columbus, Sullivan Avenue is like
it's like
prostitutes,
Compton of
drug
Columbus,
dealers. I mean,
yeah.
it's bad. It's a bad street.
Yeah.
So you get smacked by the truck. You're like,
Yeah.
wow, that
You're
hurt.
like, damn,
I should take a nap right here.
Yeah.
All right.
So I lay down on the sidewalk, and this kid comes out and shit. He's like, "You're bleeding everywhere," and I'm like, "What the do you mean I'm bleeding everywhere?" So I step back into the street, and I'm like feeling my face and shit. You know what I mean? Trying to find where the blood's coming from, and I didn't find it. I blacked out. You know what I mean?
God.
Next thing I know, I come to, and I'm running down Sullivan Avenue naked, saying that I'm Jesus Christ. I'm the Son of God.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I remember I'm in the front yard, and there's duplexes right there on Ogden and Sullivan, and I'm digging with my bare hands, naked as a bird. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Digging with my bare
not a
hands.
shred of clothes on.
Nothing at all. And I'm saying that like I want the biggest pot plant we got right here. You know what I mean? I'm the Son of God, so like I can have that, right?
You're
You say it and it'll
you're getting ready to
happen.
create it. Yeah.
So
Okay.
many questions. Here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you dig your hole.
Yeah, and then
Is the
I
pot
black
plant
back out.
Okay.
I black back out, and I come to, and I'm surrounded. I'm in front of John Burroughs Elementary. Thank God this was 3 o'clock in the morning. Had it been 3 hours earlier, 3 hours later, I'd be for the rest of my life.
Yeah, sex crime
Yeah.
territory.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I come to, I'm naked. There's a helicopter above me. There's fire trucks. There's cops all the way around me. Like,
You're surrounded.
yeah.
And like, what time of day did the truck smack happen? Like, is it still late at night too?
Probably like 1, 2-ish.
Okay,
You
so it's
know
just
what
like
I
a
mean?
couple hour middle of the
Yeah.
night span.
Yep.
So what's your reaction when you realize, okay, I'm now surrounded by not only a helicopter but all these police officers? I mean, what do you do? How do you? Because
so-
I'm sure they're telling you to get on the ground, don't move,
Oh yeah,
guns
I-
out.
Yeah, as soon as one reached for a taser, I f***ing lay down. You know what I mean? Like
no.
I'm naked. I'm not about to get tased by you.
Okay,
You know what I
okay.
mean?
You tell them you were Jesus though.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I
And
was
they
the Son of
didn't
God.
So
respect-
you like
they didn't
tried
respect
to
that?
explain to
They
them.
didn't. They
Damn.
didn't, bro. Surprise.
Like,
You
oh,
know?
sorry, sir.
Yeah.
Tried
Let
to
you
explain
pass.
you
Your
were the
way.
Son of God. And they didn't get it, did they?
No, not at all.
No.
No, they knew. You know what I'm saying?
That
They're
you
like,
were the
well,
Son of
when did
God?
you-" No, that I was.
Okay.
So I was
know
gonna
what
say,
I mean?
is this
Yeah.
behavior related to the giant concussion due to the truck, or is it like a combination of like being twacked out of your mind and the concussion?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. So like when I was running, I was smoking weed to calm down because I'd been up on meth for like 4 or 5 days. You know what I mean? And I'm ready to come down because shit's getting crazy.
Yeah.
It gets crazy for me after like day 3, day 4.
Yeah.
You know what I
It's
mean?
a long time
Yeah.
to not sleep.
Yeah. So shit's getting crazy. I'm like, I just want to sleep. So I started getting drunk and smoking weed. Well, meth overpowers alcohol. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You end up in a twack out, blackout.
Yeah.
You know what I
Blackout,
mean?
blackout. That's good.
And so I'm completely f***ed up, and I'm like smoking this weed while I run out. So I'm smoking roaches, and I remember I got a taste of something that was like almost like K2 or something funky, something.
Yeah,
that's
not
supposed
weed.
Yeah. So I threw the pipe. You know what I mean? I just threw it. This was before I got hit by the truck, and then. That's when like my blackouts really started happening, in and out too, and it wasn't like a consistent blackout. It was just in and out. You
What's
know
the
what I mean?
result of? I mean, they arrest you. I'm sure.
No, they pink slipped me. I went to
Oh, really?
Grant Hospital. Yeah, because they knew. You know what
You're,
I'm saying?
you're
Like,
They didn't
beyond
take
the
you to
point.
jail.
no.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
I
a
got
lucky
really
night.
lucky. So they took me to Grant Hospital, and the next, I don't remember nothing. Like they said the next day, they said that I was fighting the cops, fighting the paramedics, fighting the nurses all night. So they had put me in a room by myself and woke me up the next morning and was like, your cab's outside.
Then where are you going?
Back to my homie
Back
spot.
home?
Yeah.
Did they have you like locked in, like 4-point restraints or anything? No.
No, they shot me in the ass with ketamine to like
Damn.
calm me the f down. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And like the beautiful thing about this whole experience, and I've yet to see it, is that there's a body cam footage
Yeah.
on the internet.
Yeah.
Circling. And I've heard tell of this story from like our mutual friends, and for some reason I've like never watched that, but
hopefully we can tie that.
we can splice that in somewhere, just like a highlight
great
reel.
Footage. It is great footage.
Yeah, so like some of my family's like, I can't watch it. It's sad. I think it's great.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, it's up.
I
right?
get it though.
But,
But
I think it's great. It shows growth. It shows how far out I
level
was.
of insanity.
That was my I didn't get found undressed just once. You know what I'm saying?
It's like naked Jesus, a recurring.
No, just naked
naked-
me, brother.
naked
You
Dave.
know what I'm saying? I don't know.
How much of that night do you actually like? Can you consciously remember? Do you remember any of it?
All the way up until I was running to Kansas, and I turn around like, dude, like I had that realization, like you're crazy.
No
you know what I
chance.
mean?
How
Like,
How long are you running at this point before that realization?
Not far at
So,
all.
like, down the street.
Ogden, and Sullivan to BP, which is 3 blocks.
Okay, so
You
in
know
that
what I'm
span,
saying?
it's
Like,
a great idea to like, what the hell am I doing, man?
Yeah.
And
And then smack by. Do you
Yeah.
remember the smack from the truck at all?
Oh yeah.
Did it hurt? Or
Yeah. Yeah, it did. It spun me. You know
So the
what I
car's
mean?
like driving probably 30, 40, whatever down.
Yeah, and I
Sullivan.
was jaywalking because I seen a cop and I was trying to get the fuck out of there. You know what I mean?
Clearly jaywalking from the cop to draw attention to
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
twacked out I am.
So that the truck did nothing wrong. You know what I mean? Like that guy was driving the right speed
yeah, he's
limit.
doing what he was supposed to be doing.
I ran into him. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm walking and smacked his truck.
Did the guy stick around or?
Yeah,
Okay.
bro. And I guess I was naked asking him to fucking take me somewhere. Like I got to get the fuck out of here. Will you
God.
just take
I
me?
know you just sideswiped me.
And you'll hear so if you watch the video, you hear him on the 911 calls. The first 3 minutes and 50 seconds is 911 calls.
Oh man.
I'm sure there were a bunch of them.
Yeah. And he's they're asking him what his name is and shit. He's like, I'm a Uber driver.
Listen,
not
bro.
trying to disclose
Yeah,
because he
right.
doesn't want to get in trouble. But it's
Yeah.
my dumb ass fault.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What happens when you get out of the psych hospital and, you've just had this, what I would consider traumatic experience?
It's actually really crazy because I still thought that I was Jesus for a week, bro.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
I would go
okay.
around and I would tell people, I'd just be riding a little bike around the West Side, telling people, Jesus says it's okay to smoke weed. You know what I mean? And, it was stupid, bro. And so I wanted to get clean, right? I wanted to stop using, so I made my way to this AA club that you and I both know, and I lived behind there for a good while. You know what I mean? Because I would attend meetings every day.
Are you
One
talking about in
day,
the little roofed in area or back?
Yeah, in the back.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a little smoking
yeah, the
patio
smoke
out
patio.
back. Mm.
You live back there.
Well, there
Yeah.
were meetings all day long.
All
day, yeah, I
which
remember
meant
that.
you could really hang out there all day, and
Yep.
then when everything wrapped up, it's a place to stay.
You're right
Yeah.
at home already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd that go? Obviously technically that's an attempt at trying, you made
Getting
an
clean.
effort to
Yeah.
try something, I guess, even if it was half-assed at the time.
It wasn't really ideal, you know what I'm saying?
No.
Because even if I was genuinely trying to get better, you know what I'm saying? I was still there. I was still I would not be doing dope, but I'd be doing subs. I'd be, smoking crack or getting drunk, and I'm at a
Recovery spot, yeah.
you know what
where
I'm
people in
saying?
recovery go,
It's
yeah.
not okay, brother.
I used to smoke crack in that bathroom.
I didn't know that.
Very same
That's
meeting, yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it was a great bathroom. You could lock it.
Guess I'm the only one who hasn't done something like
Yeah,
that.
it's not too late, Lou.
Right.
I guess at some point, Aaron's been dying to talk about this because he didn't know we had
Yes.
an
Yes,
issue.
Yes.
So you mentioned the Suboxone thing, and I know you
Yeah.
were selling them or trying to certain people.
Yeah.
They would go.
Not certain people, any people.
Anybody. So are you
Any
recruiting
people,
at this
if-
point? People come into this meeting?
No, somebody would ask me, you know what I'm saying? They'd know. Obviously,
Yeah.
you know
Right,
when
yeah.
I'm f***ed up, right? So they would ask, you know what I'm saying? Can I get more? Can I get this? Can I get that?
In the
It
AA
gets
meeting?
me, not in the meeting,
Yeah,
I'm hanging
wait
out
a
there all
second.
But
day
you
long.
meet them
brother.
at the meeting,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
afterwards they're like, hey.
Yep.
I
So,
want rehab.
So it's almost like Jesse in Breaking Bad, where him and his buddies go to these meetings and they start selling meth to some of the people who attend.
Well, it's like a win-win because you got a place to stay for an hour and you can sell some Suboxone.
You know, there's someone weak in there that'll break.
Yeah, so it's pretty up, but like anybody, if it got me what I needed, I didn't care if you had 30 days clean, you know what I mean? And it's up, but like,
it is what
I'm
it is.
an addict.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I need to be well right now.
So
if you're willing to throw your 30 days away, I will help.
I'm willing to sell you.
That's and so what had happened is the girl I was dating at the time, I don't even remember how I found it. I think she told me.
Are you clean at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
Look,
Okay.
he's been good since I met him.
Yeah.
And like she told me like, oh yeah, he's trying to sell me this or something, and I got really mad. And I don't know if I reached out to you. I don't remember.
So I think so, but all she was buying was like gabapentins, and she had a valid reason for it, in my opinion.
I mean, you
know
just
what I'm saying?
yeah, right.
A doctor's referral.
So like she tells me this, and I'm like, you got to remember, I'm living with this chick, so I know that if it goes south, I'm now in immediate danger.
Right. Okay.
So I start like telling people like, yo, if you see him at the club, tell me, I'll come there. And like there were times where I literally would just go there and like hope to God you were in the back or whatever, and it never happened. Like I mean, I spent time actively like attending,
like pursuing
in hopes of running into him, making it known. I made it known. What I was trying to do, and it just we didn't cross paths again.
No, we talked about it and shit, and
later
you were like, yeah. So you were like, I think you had texted me or something, maybe from her phone, and you're like, hey, stop selling them to Mallory. Sorry, am I allowed to do that? Stop selling them to her. You know what I'm saying? And I think I agreed, but then I just didn't stop because it got me what I wanted. You know what I mean?
And that's when I was like, all right, let me see if I can find him.
Yeah.
And it just never happened. Like I did not run into him again.
Talk
after
about
that.
a weird 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, man. That's so good.
I was pissed.
I bet, yeah.
I was pissed.
Yeah, and so like that's something when I actually got clean, like I hadn't even worked any of the steps, and like I knew that in doing that, I fucked up a lot of people's lives. I fucked up, I mean, not they fucked up their lives, right? But like I participated.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? They were trying to do better, and I fucked them up. You know what I mean? So when I first seen Lewis for the first time, like I wasn't at that step yet, but I was like, look, bro, like I know I wreak some havoc in your life without even being in your life, so I do owe you an apology for that.
Some time had passed.
How much later had it went like
some time had passed, so like
years.
I think
years,
she was
brother.
long
Years,
gone, and so I think it was real easy for me at that point just to be like, and he was doing better, and so it's water under the bridge at that point. But in the moment it was not for me at all.
That is so good, because like
crazy.
Lou was like, you're like super program in the beginning where you're like hardcore.
We actually like came in kind of around the same time, you know what I mean, and I just couldn't get it. Like I couldn't get 30 days just off dope. You know what I'm saying? I'd do Suboxone or something, like I said, other shit. And Lewis always kind of kept his shit together. You know what I mean? And he ran with the winners.
Somehow.
Everybody I ran with is dead now.
Was.
Everybody I ran with is dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then what happened? So you're sleeping behind this place.
Yeah. And like I started working building these fences, and so I ended up like just getting stuck back in my addiction. You know what I mean? I went and started living in tents. I lived in tents for about 5 years. You know what I mean? Well, up until I got clean, a little less than. And I'd be f***ed up, bro.
Well, how do you, like, in the wintertime, what's life like in a tent?
So, have you seen those movies where, like, you'll see a 50-gallon drum that has fire in it? And, like, all the homeless. That's how I survived every winter.
Golly, man.
I never was homeless in the winter, and I can't imagine.
And, like, just things like, getting up in the middle of the night, taking a shit or a piss,
Oh,
like in the blistering cold, man. Like that's a rough life, right?
Yeah.
That'll take some years off you.
Yeah. Well, so that's the thing. my main drugs was meth and fentanyl.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So like sleep.
Didn't
it
happen,
happened,
yeah.
but not very
It
often.
wasn't that important.
Yeah,
really.
so like I'm walking around. I remember at one point in time I'd been walking around wearing these same shoes for like probably a week. You know what I mean? And my feet are just because I'm paranoid. You know what I'm saying? So I'd start believing that these people were watching me, trying to get me out of here, trying to f with me and shit.
In the tent community.
I didn't know where they were from.
Okay. Well, I mean, where are they booting you from? Where are they trying to remove you from? Society?
Just mine.
Okay.
I didn't camp with people because when you deal with that, when you camp with people, right, your shit gets stolen.
That's
Yeah.
what I was gonna ask. Like, you did 5 years living in tents, so you know the game, the homeless game, and how it works, and like, what does that look like as living in a homeless community?
Like dog eat dog.
Like, what's that? What's it? How's it go? Do you help each other? Like,
I had plenty of people that like we looked out for each other. You know what I'm saying? If you're sick, I'm good. I'm sick, you're good. We'll take care of each other and shit. But they're still grimy. You know what I'm saying? You got shoes that somebody gave you. They want them. Clothes that are still halfway clean. I'm doing laundry every day. You know what I mean? In a Tupperware. You know what I'm saying? And just hanging it out. You know what I mean? And then at one point, I stayed off the bike trail over in Valley View. So like I'd do my laundry down there in the creek. You know what I mean? Like, and I had many times I did have shit stolen from me, and that's when I ended up off the bike trail. I just didn't let nobody come around.
Just like went off the compound.
Yeah.
Damn, bud.
Yeah, I lived behind an abandoned house for a good portion of it. It was on North Terrace, and I guess they still call it Camp Dave. You know what I mean? Because I lived there for so long. And I don't know, like... things were fine, brother.
And what's a day-to-day look like? As like, what are you doing throughout the day?
You wait, like you get up, if you don't got it to get well, you go get it to get well.
Do what you gotta do.
For a long time, I had a lawnmower, and I would just push it through the summer times. You know what I mean? And then like my addiction obviously progressed, so like mowing lawns for little chumps of change isn't enough, so I started like panhandling and like not really.
what was your panhandling experience like? Because I never made good money doing it. He says he made great money doing it. I never made good money.
The most I made in one day was like 125, and it was one dude just gave me an envelope with like 120 bucks in it.
You got that one guy,
and I was like, I don't need nothing else now. You know what I mean?
Good,
I'm not going to see how much more money I can make. I can get high for at least the next 2 days. You know
and see, I think that's like I lived like $20 at a time. I'd get 20, leave, come back 20, and then I'd do that, 6 or 7 times a day.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then what's next? Like,
how do you go from like homeless tent land to sobriety? Because that's a tough place to come from and get sober because you got nothing.
So I ended up getting caught. I was actually moving like my people. It was like 2 or 3 in the morning. I was moving them, and cops, it was like there was a church directly behind us, behind the house that we were moving from. So the trucks were in the church parking lot. Well, somebody called the cops and said there was like suspicious activity.
It looks like you're robbing the church.
Right? And so the cops pull up and shit, and like I just got done like getting well, you know what I mean? And so I still got my shit in my hand, and they hit me with the spotlight. And he thinks that I'm gonna try to run because I'm like, he's blinding me. I duck it, you know what I mean? And so he ends up putting me on the hood of his car, emptying out my hands and shit. So I caught my first adult felony. You know what I mean? They take me down.
That's your first adult felony.
Yeah.
Far into the game. Wow.
Yeah.
What did you get charged with?
It was possession of a controlled substance.
It's like F5.
They told me that it made me a candidate for drug court. You know what I mean? And so they're like, with this, you just have to show up on this day, and like they'll plea you in, tell you what you have to do. And I'm like,
Sounds great.
Sweet, yeah.
So
And this
I
is
do
one
that.
of the ones where you can get the charge dismissed if you
Yeah.
complete, right? That which
Yep.
is awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they ended up dropping it to a counterfeit controlled substance, which was an M1, I believe, and I was on papers for like a year and a half, but I ran repeatedly. You know,
Did you
like,
complete the drug court program? Okay, so
Yeah,
you
yeah.
got it dropped down, you completed.
Yeah. So, but in the beginning, you know, they were like, "Oh, you have to go to Maryhaven." So I'm like, "Okay." So I'd go to Maryhaven. I'd stay for 2 or 3 days, and
Bang
I can't
out.
do dope. I can't smoke cigarettes. What the is this for? You know what I mean? So I'd leave. And pretty dumb, dude. I got caught one time. Somebody had stole some copper wire out of some business. You know what I mean? Some building, and they got caught. Well, I found the bag of copper wire.
Oh,
So I'm like, I'm homeless. I'm like,
that's a hell of a find.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
sweet.
So I put it on my handlebars and I start riding. You know what I mean? And they think that I'm like involved with dudes, so they just surround me. You know what I mean? And
Do you know the dude?
no, hell no.
Just a
I just
random,
found a
random
bag of
come up
copper wire.
on.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Damn.
So in my eyes back then, you know, like that's
Yeah.
shit. I'm
That's
That's
good,
great.
That's
bro.
yeah. You're good.
It's a lot of work too to
Yeah.
get the copper in the first place. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So they surrounded me, and I had a warrant because I never stayed at Maryhaven any of those times. So I remember I'd talk to the cops, and I'd be like, just let me finish my dope. You know what I mean? You know I'm about to go through it. You know what I mean? And they never would.
Never
but
would.
I wouldn't get charged with it though. They would just trash it. You know what I mean? So I would go to jail, and I got sentenced to the Lighthouse the first time. Well,
Which is a treatment,
Is this
outpatient treatment
where
facility.
we meet, or was this
yeah.
prior to this?
This was before we
Okay.
met. Yeah. So I was there for 9 days. I had reservations. I still wanted to continue to get high. I'm forcibly
Were you in
having
detox or inpatient?
workhouse. Yeah, workhouse.
But when you got to your
Oh,
treatment
there's
center,
yeah,
Lighthouse.
there's no detox
Yeah,
in
no,
Lighthouse.
I was
Okay,
good.
okay.
Like, yeah.
Straight into.
So I end up finding some Suboxones. You know what I mean? Which aren't allowed in the facility. Which aren't, you know, like you drop for them, you're getting kicked out. And so I ended up running out after 9 days. And I told like the resident manager, he was a paid resident manager there. I'm like, look, bro, I'm about to be going through it. You know what I mean? And I told him what I'm doing. Like I told him what I've been doing. And I'm like, I brought these from the workhouse, which is I'm just not throwing somebody else under the bus. You know what
Right.
I mean? So he's like, well, since you brought drugs into our facility, you have to go. You know what I mean? So I'm like, all right. One of my old bosses that kind of fucked me over one time when I went to jail, he had accidentally sent me like $350 on Cash App.
Oh.
And was like, he owed me almost 500. So he was like asking me to send him back this money. And I'm like, no, you owe me 100.
Still owe me
You
money.
know what I'm saying? Like, you just owe me less now, brother. And so, like, my first thing is, so my first thought is, like, let me just call my people. You know what I mean? They'll come and get me.
Mm-hmm.
So they did, and I think I made it like a month and a half, 2 months maybe. I was sleeping on the bench in front of White Castle. I had a tent, I had my bag, but like I told you, I'm paranoid. You know what I'm saying? So I keep getting chased off by shadow people.
Right. Yeah.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying? For every spot that
Things
I
that
go.
don't
They're
exist,
everywhere.
things that aren't
they're
even real.
everywhere, bro.
They're there. And so like I just end up leaving. And so finally, like my safe haven is like I'm right there, Broad and Wilson. You know, anybody can see me and it's fine. I'm okay with it because it's not shadow people, right? So I woke up and I needed to get well, and my lighter had died on me the night before. So I go over to Speedway. Well, I find out that Speedway had called the cops on like some of the homeless over there for like trespassing, and I'm like,
Yeah.
so when they get there, I'm like, listen, dude, I've got a warrant. I'm tired. I'm gonna sit right here on this parking block and I'm gonna smoke cigarettes. Let me know whenever you're ready. You know what I mean? And that's what happened. So when I went to court, I asked him, I'm like, you know, can I go back to Lighthouse? Because in that time where I was kicked out, like being kicked out, like a bunch of staff was like trying to talk me into going to detox.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what I wanted to do.
Right.
Like I had money, I had reservations, I fucking had a plan. but that month and a half beat me. You know what I mean? And by this time, like, I had no desire to live. You know what I mean? I carried around a note in my pocket and, like, on my wallet, do not resuscitate. I've got a 13-year-old daughter. She's 13 now. That at the time I hadn't seen in 5 years. You know what I mean? Had communication with, and I had talked to her while I was at Lighthouse for the 9 days. But I let her down because I got kicked the out and went back to jail. So I just hadn't, like, I felt like a complete failure. You know what I mean? Like, multiple families gave up. I mean, I wanted to die.
So you were passively suicidal, really, is what it was. Like,
yeah.
It's like, if
with
I
the no,
to...
like, if something happens, please don't bring me back.
Yeah.
Just let me go.
Yeah.
But you never considered doing it yourself.
Oh, dude, I tried.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I was too much of a coward.
While I was getting adopted, I hung myself in a closet, and the foster family had found me. And
Found you hanging?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I ended up going to Harding Hospital for 2 weeks.
Man.
Wow.
Yeah. There's been a couple times I remember eating a bunch of pills, like at a very young age. You know what I mean? Eating a bunch of pills, just hoping that would be it. Another time I'd tried to hang myself. I used to get up, and I had guns, and I'd just sit there and, like, hold them to my head by myself and, like, contemplate, but
Never.
never did it. Yeah.
God.
So how do you end up back at Lighthouse?
So I ended up, like, I went to court and shit, and they wanted me to go to, like, these different programs, and I was like, you know, the Lighthouse staff genuinely cares. They wanted me to go to detox to begin with, like, they actually give a So I asked if I could come back, or if I could go back there, and the next day they were there to pick me up, and I still bucked. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't want to change. I wanted to change. I didn't want to be on drugs.
Just didn't know how.
Yeah. So I ended up, like, being, like, their level 0, phase 0, like, starter stage 4 or 5 times, you know what I mean, in total, because I'd fuck up, I'd do dumb shit, you know what I mean? And then finally one day I was like, these people are trying to save my life, and I'm spitting in their face, you know what I mean? So, like, I broke down crying and went in there and was like, I'm sorry, you know what I mean? Like, I've been extremely ungrateful. Like, you guys are trying to help me, and I haven't respected that, and I apologize. So I started trying to, like, make the changes necessary, you know what I'm saying? And I decided that, like, if I want to, like, complete the probation that I was on, if I want to complete the Lighthouse program, I need to try it for a year. If it's not great after that first year, I can go back.
Yeah, streets are
you
always
know
there.
What I'm saying? Like, I can easily go back. And so I had the most fun that I ever had, and I loved it. You know what I mean?
You went all in on recovery, basically.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to give this a year, an honest effort, take suggestions, and lo and behold.
It's been beautiful.
Not bad.
I recently got, like, I don't know. Okay, so I recently had a visit with my daughter, who I hadn't seen for 8 years.
The 13-year-old daughter.
Yeah. Yeah. At this point, it's been 8 years. Who was, like, I don't know, a couple days before my birthday, or, like, a week before my birthday, she was cheerleading for this basketball game at her school and asked me if I wanted to come, and I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah,
I've been waiting for this
I mean,
moment.
like, I've been, And we had, like, a couple times of, like, communication, text messages, and, like, I wasn't expecting that. But I'd always told her, like, I don't think that I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? Like, I haven't been able to be a father for a long time. You know what I'm saying? I can't say that I'm ready. You know what I mean? But I know that I'll do what I got to be sure that I am when that day comes. You know what I'm saying? And it's been, like, it was amazing, dude. You know what I mean? Like, just to like, kind of rekindle that. You know what I mean? Start the process of rekindling.
Now it's a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So you said you have done detoxes and treatments, and you've done jail. Sounds like treatment, you never stayed?
Detox, I never stayed.
Okay, so...
Yeah, detox, never.
So... for me, it was always, I needed jail.
Yep,
I was
same,
never, I knew if I went to detox, I'd leave, and the one time there was a bed available for me, I hung up on it, because that's just how I am.
Yep.
What's your opinion on jail for addicts versus detox? Like, do you think that incarceration helps on some level? Or do you feel like you just got locked up, learned nothing, they let you out, and that was that?
Yeah, I mean, so in the workhouse, you don't learn anything.
Right.
Like, you sit there and you go through
100%.
you know what I mean? You
100%.
go through your shit. So by the time you're out, like, you're good. If you do a lengthy amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
By the time you get out, you're good. You know what I'm saying? But, like...
You got to follow up with that.
Yeah. And same, I'm exact same. Anytime I'd go to detox, like I said, like, no cigarettes, no dope. Like, you guys want me to just stop all this right now? Like, no.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
And
so,
you know you can walk in that situation. See,
Yeah.
that's why jail for me was always so important, is like I had no choice.
Yeah.
And once I realized I had no choice, I'm stuck here. It's like, well, I guess I might want to start thinking about, some positive things, because
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere.
And even, like, while I was in jail, I was like, just try for this year, and then, like, maybe your plug will put you on once you're not but dependent on drugs. I'm like,
That's a crazy
Yeah,
thought.
like,
what the bro?
Now you can trust me a little more.
So, like, I
Still
wasn't
scheming.
still having, I wasn't having those right thoughts
Right.
yet. You know what I'm saying? But, like, it was dumb shit, brother. But,
I remember this is how I knew, like, I had the utmost respect for you, right? Like, day one we were cool, like,
Yeah.
pretty immediately, right? But you were acting a fool in there
Yeah.
still. So I can't remember if you got kicked out or if you had to leave for whatever reason. But they said, I think you were kicked out. But they said, like, you have to wait a month to get back in here.
I was kicked out of housing for 30 days.
And you still have to do group every
Yep.
day.
Yep.
So this guy didn't have a place to go at that point. It's pretty early on, right?
Yep.
Finds a place in whatever county it was.
I was out in Kirkersville staying at my brother's house.
Yeah, and then he is able to, like, I'm like, well, that's it for Dave.
That's a wrap.
Yeah, so, it sucks. I like Dave. And this
Shut
found a way to, like, get back and forth the group for that 30 days.
Yeah.
And then able to get back in and then successfully graduate, right?
Yeah.
And another weird thing is, like, Dave and I are shit trucks, right?
Yeah.
We're the worst of the worst. But,
Yeah.
like, somehow, like, Lighthouse asked us to be a part of their, like, whatever it was, promotional video.
They have, like, a promotional video that they show, like, new hires, and Andrew and I are both on it.
And I remember, like, they
bet
said
that
they
felt
picked
good.
somebody else,
Yeah.
and then I get there and it's Dave. Was like, well, damn, how
What
did we end up
Yeah.
here,
Right.
man?
Right.
And I remember I was kind of jealous because, like, they had me go first. I've never been a camera in my life at that point, and Dave, like, it was terrible, I think. And then Dave got on there. He's like, natural, and he's like, blah, blah, blah. I was like, good for him, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been more proud of my guy. Like, look at us, bud. Look,
Yeah.
look how far we've come.
Would you say you're happy today?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm stressed. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But the stress is a different kind of stress and different
yeah,
kind
but
of
without
problem
a doubt.
than
Without a
the
doubt.
other kind that
Yeah.
we used to deal with. Tell us, I guess, a little bit about just, what life is like for you today, and some of the things that you've learned, or those little bits of recovery that you pick up along the way, and how it's formed your life or shaped your life to what it is today.
Yeah, so, I mean, for me, for a long time, I didn't really, work a program. So, what kept me in the solution was, my fellowship, my guys. You know what I'm saying? Doing shit, having fun, right? But I still found myself angry inside. You know what I mean? I'd lost jobs from it. I'd, done, not the right shit, So, I finally, started to work the steps of one of the 12-step programs.
You
know what I
listened
mean?
to somebody else who had gotten sober, and when
And-
they told you to do something, you actually did it,
Yeah.
and then it worked.
Yep. And so I stay involved with my guys, and for a long time I had breakfast at my house every Sunday. You know what I'm saying? And I'd invite I have a couch that seats 3 in a recliner. We'd have 15 to 17 guys in a house that you got room to sit maybe 8. You know what I mean? So that kept me good for a little while. Mostly, like, I just knew, you know what I mean, when that day did come that my daughter reached out to me, had I chose to get drunk or, you know, smoke some weed, like, I knew it was game over for Fetty, you know what I mean? 3 months in to Lighthouse the second time, I had went to group one day, so the night before on Thursday, one of my roommates, there's, like, resident managers there, and one of my guys, he was the number 2. He was acting all out of whack, you know what I mean? And I know what that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to pull him up on it, you know what I mean? What's going on with you, bro? And Friday, I come home from group at noon, and he's dead in his bed. You know what I mean? And
You found him,
I didn't find him. They had already found
but
him.
you
Like
had found.
all
You
my
come
guys.
home and you find out.
Yeah.
That was Joe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was yeah.
How does that feel? Because I mean, I went through that recently. I just lost a friend that went back out, and it was like he went back out and then he was gone.
Yeah. It was rough, dude. I feel like I grieved for him for all the ones that I hadn't grieved for while I was stuck in my addiction. So like, for 2 days, I just freaked the out. You know what I mean? Like, I got excused from group. You know what I mean? If I needed it, like, I was freaking the out because it was the first time I dealt with something like that in recovery.
And that's
you
like
know
close to home, man. You guys were boys.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was
and,
my dude.
Yeah.
And share the story of what happened to him, just for the viewers, because I feel like, and I promise myself this, people close to me, when they pass away as a result of the disease, I tell their stories because it might save the next person. So like, what happened to him? Like,
so he was working this job, working night shift. You know what I mean? And, it was at a warehouse. Somebody was like, "Hey man, you know, do you need, if you're looking, yada yada yada." So he gets his first check, and it's a decent check. So he decides that he's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the first day, I think he was just dabbling in it. It was on a Thursday. And then that Friday, he come home from work, and I'm assuming that he cashed his check, got more, and it...
that quick.
That was it, yeah.
And the crazy thing is, bro, the night before, right? So Wednesday night, before all that shit happened, his son's birthday was Sunday. You know what I'm saying? We were having a party for him on Sunday.
Like coming up.
Yeah. 2 days after he died.
Yeah.
So we were sitting there planning it. Like, this dude, bro, he made me feel like I'd be in the shower. I remember one time I got into a fight while I was at Lighthouse, and this kicks in the door on me like, "I thought I told you," you know what I'm saying? Like, he was a brother, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, we're just sit there and, like, we're planning this shit out, you know what I mean? And he dies.
And then Christmas was like that time too, man.
Yep.
Christmas was like a couple days away.
Yep. It was December 17th.
And you didn't see it. You did not see it coming. Not like that.
So I actually no, bro, because he was doing really good.
Doing great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's how.
great.
That's that. Yeah, I guess that's the point I'm trying to drive home.
He actually got. They got this thing that they do at the Lighthouse where we were at. It's called Family Day. Joe's the one that got that shit started.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like.
So he was actively trying.
Yeah.
He was a good dude, man.
Yeah.
He was an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, he would come across as an asshole, but like sweet as can be, bud.
Yep.
Slipped up one time.
One time.
That's all it takes.
One time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had told my resident manager that night when Joe left for work, I'm like, "Look, bro, if Joe comes home in the morning and he's out of character, like he's acting different,
Keep
I'm
an
the
eye
new
out."
guy in the house,
Yeah.
bro. I'm the new guy in the house, and I'm like, we have to talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because I knew what it was, bro. When you're hiding out, and you know what I mean.
You
Like,
start
yeah.
doing things
I
differently.
know,
Yeah, we know what to look for.
and we weren't able to stop it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, listen, dude. Congratulations on everything you've accomplished. And I tell Aaron this all the time. I did not think he was going to make it out.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, I started to think the same thing about you. I was like, is this gonna ever click for this dude?
Yeah.
And so to be sitting here today is cool. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but same thing with me. I was like, Dave, like I love Dave, but I don't know about him, man.
Yeah.
And then like I think you were he was the first of anybody that came and like visited me after my daughter was born. Him and a
Yep.
bunch of Lighthouse people.
Yep.
And sadly, I was asleep. But
Yeah.
like it's a weird world we live in where, a couple of like us can
Yeah.
do things and be, because Dave's just one of those reoccurring characters in my life that I'm glad he's in there, man.
Absolutely.
Love you, buddy. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah,
brother.
dude. Thanks
Absolutely.
for
And-
coming on.
Insert
sure.
naked Jesus video here.